Jack Rivers took a deep breath as he walked into the grand hall of the floating palace on Xyrantha. His heart beat fast. He was the first human diplomat to ever visit this part of the galaxy. The Intergalactic Peace Conference was a big event. Leaders from many alien worlds had come together to talk about peace and trade. Earth had sent Jack as its representative. Jack wore his best suit. It looked strange compared to the bright and colorful clothes of the aliens around him. But Jack did not care about fashion. He cared about making a good first impression. The hall was enormous. Huge crystal lights floated in the air, shining soft blue and green colors. The floor looked like glass. Outside, Jack could see the clouds swirling below the palace. This place was beautiful and strange. Then Jack saw her. Queen Valeria sat on her throne, high above the others. She was the leader of the Zinari, the blue-skinned alien race known for their wisdom and power. Her skin was a deep blue, shining like the ocean under the sun. Her eyes were large and bright. She wore a crown made of shining crystals that glowed softly. Jack felt nervous. He had heard stories about how proud and serious the Zinari were. They did not like jokes or disrespect. The queen looked at Jack with calm eyes. Her voice was soft, but strong as she said, "Welcome, human. We hope you bring good news from Earth." Jack smiled. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am honored." The meeting started well. Aliens spoke in many languages, but Jack's translator worked perfectly. He listened carefully and took notes. After the speeches, there was a break. Jack walked toward the queen's throne. He wanted to say something friendly. He smiled awkwardly. "Your Majesty," he said, "I hope you don't mind if I say this, but you look a bit like a Smurf." The hall went silent. Jack did not understand. A Smurf was a cartoon on Earth. Small, blue creatures with white hats who were funny and kind. He thought it was a joke to make the queen smile. But Queen Valeria's eyes flashed with anger. She stood up quickly. The light in the hall dimmed as all eyes turned to her. "You insult me, human," she shouted in her deep voice. Jack's heart stopped. The queen raised her hand. "I order your execution at dawn." Gasps filled the room. Some aliens whispered, fearfully. Others looked shocked. Jack wanted to explain. "Wait, I meant it as a joke. It is just a cartoon from Earth." But his translator made his words sound harsh. The queen did not listen. He was grabbed by two large guards with many arms. They took him away from the hall. Jack was thrown into a dark cell deep inside the palace. The walls were cold and smooth. Strange machines hummed quietly. He sat down, breathing hard. How could one little joke cause this? Days passed. Jack was alone in the cell. He ate strange food and listened to the quiet noises of the palace. He knew he had little time. The queen's order was clear. He would die at sunrise. Jack thought about Earth. Would anyone come to save him? Or was he alone in this alien world? One night the door opened. A small creature entered. It was jelly-like and glowing faintly. "I am Slick," it said softly. "I am a prisoner too." Jack blinked. "You're a prisoner?" Slick nodded. "Yes, but I have plans. Plans to escape." Jack felt hope for the first time. Slick explained that the prison was very secure. No one escaped before. But with help, Slick said, anything is possible. Jack smiled. He would not give up. Together they waited for a chance. The next day Jack saw a robot walking near the cell. It was large and silver with bright red eyes. Jack waved. The robot stopped. "I am XR9, the robot said. "I was once a soldier. Now I am a prisoner." Jack nodded. "We need to escape. Will you help?" XR9 thought for a moment. "Yes, but we need a plan." The three of them, Jack, Slick, and XR9, started talking quietly. They watched the guards. They learned the times of patrols. Jack used Earth tricks. He made a small device from pieces he found in the cell. It made a loud noise. When the noise went off, guards rushed to check. At that moment, Slick used its jelly body to slip through a small hole in the wall. They ran through dark halls and strange rooms. Jack laughed nervously. I never thought I would run from an alien queen because of a bad joke. Slick smiled. Sometimes the smallest mistake is the biggest problem. Suddenly alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The guards were coming fast. Jack's heart pounded. They turned a corner and found themselves in a room with strange food machines. One machine spit out tentacle soup, thick and moving. XR9 pushed a button on the machine. The soup exploded, splashing everywhere. The guards slipped and fell in the sticky mess. Jack and his friends ran through the chaos. They found a small spaceship in a hangar. Jack opened the door. It was old from an earlier Earth mission. He climbed inside and turned on the engines. The ship rose slowly into the air. From above, Jack saw the palace getting smaller, but his troubles were far from over. Suddenly, he looked at his translator. He found something strange. The word Smurf did not mean what he thought. In the Zainari language, it sounded like sacred worm, a terrible insult. Jack swallowed hard. He was not just an insulted guest. He was a blasphemer in the eyes of the queen. His execution was now even more serious. But Jack was not ready to give up. He would find a way to fix this for Earth for himself and maybe to make a blue queen smile someday. Jack's heart still beat fast as the small spaceship floated above the planet Zyrantha. He looked around at his strange new friends. There was Slick, the glowing jelly creature who wobbled happily in the tight space, and XR9, the big silver robot, who was quietly scanning the controls. We made it out of the prison, Jack said, trying to sound confident. But we're not safe yet. Slick bounced up and down. The Queen's guards will come after us. They always catch escapees. XR9's red eyes glowed softly. We need a plan. Flying away now will not work. The palace has many hunter drones. Jack looked at the old ship's controls. The ship was slow and old. It might not outrun the drones. Suddenly a loud beep came from the ship's computer. Warning, hunter drones detected nearby. Jack pressed a button. The ship's small shields activated, glowing blue. We need to hide, Jack said quickly. Slick nodded. There is a cave system on this planet not far from here. The drones cannot enter there. Jack checked the map on the screen. Good, let's go. The ship dropped down fast toward the rocky surface. Clouds swirled as the planet's thick atmosphere made the ride rough. Jack held tightly to the controls. They landed near a dark opening. In the rocks, come on, Jack said, opening the ship's door. Slick oozed out first, then XR9 stepped carefully over the stones. The cave was cool and quiet. Inside, strange glowing plants lit the walls with soft green light. Jack breathed deeply. For the first time, he felt safe. But he knew the Queen's order was still clear. Execution at dawn. Jack looked at Slick. Do you have a plan to fix this? To stop the Queen from killing me? Slick's jelly body shimmered. There is a secret. A mistake in the translator's code, a language bug. Jack's eyes widened. A bug? What kind of bug? It changes words. The word Smurf was wrong, Slick explained. The real meaning is different. Jack thought hard. If we can prove this to the Queen, maybe she will stop. But we need proof, XR9 said. And we need to get it quickly. Jack smiled. Then let's find it. The three escaped prisoners spent the next hours searching the cave. The glowing plants helped them see, but the rocky path was hard to walk. Jack pulled out a small device from his pocket. It was a portable translator and computer. He had brought it from Earth. I can try to fix the language bug with this, Jack said. Slick touched the device with a small jelly arm. I know where the original translator files are kept, deep in the palace's data core. XR9's eyes flashed. Breaking into the data core will be very dangerous. Jack smiled. I'm not afraid, we have to try. As night fell outside the cave, Jack and his friends planned their next move. Jack studied the language files he had already saved on his device. The words were strange, with many symbols and sounds. Hours passed as Jack worked. Slowly, he found errors in the translation. The word smurf was mistranslated from a Zinari word that meant sacred worm. In Zinari culture, a sacred worm was a holy creature, but also one that must never be mocked or compared to a person. It was a deep insult. Jack felt a chill. No wonder the queen was angry. But if I can show her this mistake, she might forgive me, Jack said. Slick nodded. Yes, but first we must escape the cave and get back to the palace. The next morning, the three prepared to leave the cave. Jack packed his device carefully. Just then, a low rumble shook the ground. Hunter drones were nearby. We must hide, Jack whispered. They slipped behind rocks as shining drones hovered overhead. Their lights scanned the ground. Jack held his breath as the drones passed close by. Once the drones left, Jack looked at Slick and XR9. That was close. XR9's voice was calm. We cannot run forever. We must use Earth thinking. Jack grinned. I have an idea. Back at the palace, the guards were searching for Jack. Queen Vylaria was furious. I want him found, she said. No matter what. General Grack, the queen's strongest warrior, stood before her. Your Majesty, the human has escaped with others, Grack said. We are searching the planet. Vylaria's eyes narrowed. Find him. Bring him back alive. I want to hear his apology. Jack's plan was simple but risky. He decided to cause a distraction at the palace to sneak back inside. Using parts from the ship, Jack built a small device that could make loud noises and lights. He called it the noise box. Let's test it, Jack said, switching it on. The box exploded with a loud bang and flashing lights. Slick laughed. That will get attention, XR9 added. It will also make the guards come running. At night, Jack and his friends flew the small ship close to the palace. Jack dropped the noise box near the main gate and switched it on. Suddenly, the palace erupted in alarm sounds and flashing red lights. Guards ran outside to check. Jack and his team slipped inside through a side door they had learned about from Slick. Inside the palace, everything was quiet but tense. Jack looked at the old technology and strange decorations. Suddenly, the smell of tentacle soup filled the air. Jack's stomach rumbled. We must be near the kitchen, Slick said. In the kitchen, Jack found strange machines that made alien food. One machine squirted tentacle soup. The thick blue soup moved like a living creature. Jack had an idea. He pushed a button on the food machine. Suddenly, the machine burst, splashing tentacle soup everywhere. The guards in the kitchen slipped and fell in the sticky mess. Jack smiled. That was fun. Slick giggled. You have Earth humor. XR9 scanned the area. We must move now. They ran through dark halls, careful to avoid guards. Jack held his device tight. We need to get to the data core. That is where the translator files are. After a long walk, they found the door to the data core. Jack hacked the lock with his device. Inside, rows of glowing computers filled the room. Jack quickly found the language files. He downloaded the original translator code. This is it, Jack said. Just then, alarms blared. We've been found, Slick said. Jack's heart pounded. They ran to the nearest exit. Guards chased them through the halls. Jack used his quick thinking to hide behind a statue. The guards passed by, confused. Jack whispered, We need to get out and show the queen the truth. The three friends ran back to their ship. Jack started the engines. As the ship lifted off, Jack looked at the glowing city below. We will prove Earth's honesty, Jack said. Slick smiled. And maybe the queen will laugh one day. Jack looked at the stars. He was ready for the next challenge. The small spaceship flew low over the wild lands of Zirentha. Jagged rocks rose like giant teeth from the red soil. The air was thick, and strange winds howled through the valleys. Jack looked out the window, feeling tense but determined. Behind him. Slick floated quietly, watching the controls. XR9 stood tall and steady, ready for any danger. We need to stay hidden, Jack said. The queen will send her best hunter after us. Slick nodded. The hunter is General Grack. He is fast, strong, and smart. Jack swallowed hard. Then we have to be even smarter. On the floating palace, Queen Vylaria was angry and restless. "How dare this human insult me?" she said to her advisors. "Send General Grack to bring him back," she ordered. "Dead or alive." General Grack, a towering figure covered in silver armor, bowed deeply. "I will not fail you, Your Majesty." Grack left the palace immediately, his ship roaring through the skies. Jack's ship moved quietly across the rough landscape. The planet's gravity made it hard to fly, but Jack had learned to control the old ship well. Suddenly, a warning beeped on the screen. "Hunter drones are approaching fast," XR9 said. Jack's hands moved quickly. He turned on the ship's camouflage system. The ship's surface changed color, blending with the rocky ground below. The drones passed overhead, missing them by inches. Jack let out a breath. That was too close. The crew landed near a small village hidden in the hills. The village was quiet and old, with houses made of wood and stone. Jack looked at the villagers. They were Zinari, but different. Their skin was a lighter blue, and their eyes were kind. Jack smiled. "Maybe they can help us." Slick nodded. "We must be careful. Some Zinari still believe humans are enemies." Jack walked into the village market. People stared at the strange group. A human, a glowing jelly, and a big robot. An old woman approached. Her eyes were soft but wise. "You are not from here," she said in broken English. "No, ma'am," Jack said politely. "I'm running from the Queen. I need help." The woman looked at him carefully. Then she nodded. "Come," she said. "My house is safe." At the old woman's house, Jack learned more about Zarentha and the Queen. "The Queen fears change," the woman said. "She does not trust outsiders." Jack sighed. "I just want to explain the mistake with the translator." The woman smiled. "Words are powerful. You must show her the truth." Jack looked at Slick and XR9. "We have to find a way back to the palace." That night, Jack practiced his plan. "We can't fight the Queen's army," Jack said. "But we can use Earth ideas." Slick asked, "What ideas?" Jack grinned. "Tricks, camouflage, and humor," XR9 added. "Also, we can use the planet's gravity. It can slow the hunters down." Jack nodded. "Good. Let's get ready." Early. Next day, the hunters found the village. General Grack stood tall, his silver armor shining in the sun. "Where is the human?" he demanded. The villagers shook their heads. "We do not know." Grack frowned. He looked around and saw strange footprints. Jack and his friends were hiding, nearby, watching carefully. Suddenly, Jack remembered something. He took out a small device from his pocket. It was an Earth invention, a flare gun. Jack aimed and fired. The flare shot into the sky, glowing bright red. Grack's hunters looked up, distracted by the light. Jack smiled. "Now." Using the confusion, Jack and his friends ran into the hills. They climbed steep rocks and jumped over cracks in the ground. The hunters followed, but the rough land slowed them down. Jack's plan worked. "We're losing them," Jack said, breathing hard. At the top of a cliff, Jack stopped. Below, the valley stretched wide. Clouds covered the ground like a white sea. Jack looked at his friends. "We need to hide until night." Slick glowed softly. "I know a cave nearby." They ran to the cave and entered quickly. Inside the cave, the air was cool and dark. Jack pulled out his translator device and looked at the files he had downloaded earlier. He found more mistakes. The translator changed many words, making Earth's language sound rude. Jack realized that the misunderstanding was bigger than just one word. "This is why the Queen is so angry," Jack said. "She thinks we insulted her culture." XR9 nodded. "We must fix this, but first we need proof." Jack smiled. "Then we must go back to the palace. We have to show the Queen the real meaning." Suddenly, a sound came from the cave entrance. Jack, Slick, and XR9 froze. The hunters had found them. Jack whispered, "Get ready." General Grack entered the cave, his armor shining in the dim light. "You cannot hide forever, human," he said. Jack stepped forward. I do not want to fight. Grak looked surprised. I want to show the Queen the truth, Jack said. The insult was a mistake. Grak's eyes narrowed. Why should I trust you? Jack smiled. Because Earth is not your enemy. We want peace. Grak thought for a moment. Then he lowered his weapon. Very well, he said. Take me to the Queen. Jack was surprised but relieved. Slick glowed happily. The journey back was tense but quiet. Jack explained more about Earth and its culture. Grak listened carefully. When they reached the palace, the gates opened wide. Queen Vylaria stood waiting. Jack took a deep breath. This time, he said, I will tell her the truth. Jack stood before Queen Vylaria in her grand throne room. The walls were tall and shiny, filled with blue crystals that glowed softly. The air smelled faintly of flowers from distant planets. Guards stood silently at attention, their eyes sharp and watchful. Queen Vylaria's eyes burned with anger. Her blue skin shimmered, and her many long tentacles moved slowly behind her throne. Human, she said coldly, you have caused great insult by calling me a smurf. Do you expect mercy now? Jack held his ground, trying not to look afraid. Your Majesty, I did not mean to insult you. It was a mistake in our translator. The word smurf does not mean what we thought. Vylaria's tentacles twitched. Explain. Jack looked at General Grak, who stood nearby silently. I have the original translator files, Jack said, pulling out his device. Here is the true meaning of the word that was mistranslated. Jack showed the Queen the files on the glowing screen. Vylaria leaned forward, eyes scanning the data. The word you called me means sacred worm in Zenari, Jack explained. It is a holy creature in your culture. We did not mean to mock or offend. It was a mistake in the translator. Vylaria was silent for a long moment. Then she stood and slowly moved from her throne. Your words. They may be true, she said softly, but the insult has already spread across my court. Jack nodded. I understand. I want to help fix this. Slick floated beside Jack. We can help translate correctly now. We want peace between our worlds. The Queen's face softened. She turned to her advisors. Prepare a message to the Zenari people. Explain the mistake, and ask for forgiveness from the humans. Jack felt hope rising inside him. Vylaria looked back at him. Human, you have courage. You risked much to come here and speak truth. Jack smiled. I only want to show respect. The Queen raised a tentacle. Your execution order is cancelled. Jack's heart leapt. You will be a guest of honor for the next cycle, Vylaria said. That evening a great feast was held in the palace. Jack sat beside the Queen, sharing stories of Earth. Slick floated happily, glowing brighter than ever. XR9 stood quietly nearby, observing the new piece. The palace halls were filled with music and laughter. But peace was not easy. Some in the court whispered against Jack. A few did not believe the translator's mistake. One guard whispered, He is a spy. The Queen should still punish him. Jack overheard but said nothing. He knew he had to prove Earth's true friendship by actions, not just words. The next day, Jack helped the Queen and her scientists study new technology from Earth. He showed how humans built machines and made energy. Vylaria was fascinated. We must share this knowledge, she said. Jack agreed. Together we can make our worlds better. However, trouble came from outside. A fleet of warships appeared in the sky, led by a rival alien empire that hated the Zenari. They wanted to take the planet and destroy the palace. The alarms sounded loud. Vylaria's face grew serious. We must defend our home. Jack stood ready. Let me help, he said. The battle was fierce. Lasers flashed across the sky. Jack piloted a small fighter ship, dodging enemy fire. Slick's jelly form transformed to shield the ship from damage. XR9 controlled the ship's weapons, firing at enemy fighters. Together they fought bravely. During the battle, Jack noticed a weakness in the enemy fleet's formation. He told Vylaria. Using Earth tactics, she ordered a surprise attack. The Zenari forces broke through the enemy line. The rival fleet retreated. Victory was theirs. After the battle, Vylaria thanked Jack. "You have proven your value and honor." Jack smiled, tired but proud. "We are stronger together." The Queen invited Jack to stay longer. She wanted him to teach more about Earth and help build peace. Jack agreed. He looked at the stars outside the palace window. He thought about Earth and the long journey ahead. But now, he was no longer a prisoner, he was a friend. After the battle, the palace was alive with new energy. The Zenari people had seen a new side of humans, one filled with courage and respect. Jack felt the change deep inside the blue alien world. Queen Vylaria stood by the window, looking out at the red landscape that stretched far beyond the palace. She thought about the future, a future with Earth and Zarentha working together. "Jack," she said softly, "your bravery has changed many minds. You saved my people and honored our culture." Jack smiled, feeling proud but humble. "I only did what anyone would do to save friends." In the following days, Jack helped the Queen and her council build a new bridge between their worlds. They worked to create better translators, so no one would misunderstand again. The old translator had caused so much trouble. Slick was busy too. It shared stories of Earth's animals and oceans, fascinating the Zenari children. XR9 helped build machines to clean the air and water. The palace became a place of learning and hope. But Jack knew his time on Zarentha was short. His mission was almost over. One evening, Jack sat with Queen Vylaria on a balcony under the stars. The two looked up at the bright sky, feeling a quiet peace. "Will you come back?" Vylaria asked. Jack looked at her, then at the stars beyond. "I will. We have started something good here." Vylaria smiled. "Your world is welcome on Zarentha any time." Suddenly, a message arrived from Earth. Jack's people wanted him to return. The peace talks between the two planets would begin soon. Jack felt torn. He wanted to stay but knew his duty. He turned to Vylaria. "I must go back, but I hope to bring Earth and Zarentha closer." Vylaria nodded. "You are a great ambassador, Jack. Our friendship will not end." Before leaving, Jack gave the Queen a gift. It was a small Earth flag and a book of stories from his home. Vylaria accepted it with respect. "This will remind me of you." Jack smiled. "And this will remind me of Zarentha." The day Jack left, many Zenari gathered to say goodbye. The Queen herself came to the launch site. Jack climbed into his spaceship, waving to the crowd. The engines roared, and the ship lifted off. As he flew away, Jack looked back at the blue palace, shining below. A new chapter was beginning. Not just for Jack, but for two worlds learning to trust each other. Back on Earth, Jack was greeted as a hero. The story of his journey spread fast. People listened with hope. Earth's leaders began serious talks with the Zenari. Jack watched the news, smiling quietly. He knew misunderstandings could happen anywhere. But with courage and truth, peace was possible. Weeks later, Jack stood at a new space station ready for the next mission. Slick floated beside him, glowing softly. XR9 beeped. "Ready as always." "Ready for the future?" Jack asked. "We are," Slick said. Jack nodded. "Then let's go make the stars friendlier places." And so, the human who once called a blue alien queen a smurf became a symbol of hope. Not because he was perfect, but because he never gave up. The stars were big and full of mystery, but Jack knew that with kindness and understanding, even the darkest skies could shine bright.